The first thing Mara noticed was the shine. Not the car itself, not the shape or color or brand, but the way the sunlight slid along the hood like water refusing to stay. A new car does that. It reflects the world back before the world has time to mark it. She was standing at the curb outside the florist, a paper sleeve of white lilies pressed to her ribs when the engine purred beside her. Soft. Confident. As if it already knew it belonged. The car stopped too close, the side mirror almost kissing her elbow, and Mara stepped back instinctively, murmuring an apology to no one. Then a voice, high and bright, said, "Careful. Wouldn't want you scratching it." Mara looked up. The woman leaned out of the driver's seat like she was leaning out of a magazine page. Sunglasses oversized, lips glossy, hair arranged in that way that looks careless only because it took time. Her hand rested on the steering wheel possessively, fingers curved, nails pale pink. A smile waited on her mouth, already formed, already practiced. "I'm sorry," Mara said automatically. Her voice always did that when surprised. Shrunk itself. The woman's smile widened. "Oh, it's fine. I'm just extra careful. It's brand new." Mara nodded, because nodding was easier than looking. She shifted the lilies, felt one stem snap faintly inside the paper. She should move. She should step away. Instead she stood there, caught in the way. The car seemed too expensive for this narrow street, too loud for a Tuesday afternoon. "My man got it for me," the woman added, casually, like an afterthought tossed into the air to see if it landed. Her eyes, sharp now behind the tinted lenses, flicked to Mara's left hand. The ring was old. Thin gold. Scratched from years of counters and sinks and doors. Mara followed the woman's gaze and felt a small tightening in her chest, the familiar one, the one that came whenever someone else noticed what she had been wearing forever. "That's nice," Mara said. The woman laughed softly. "It is, isn't it? He said I deserved something special. For being patient." Mara swallowed. Patience had always been something she associated with waiting rooms and funerals, not gifts. She tried to step back again, but the curb was behind her now. Nowhere to go. The woman tilted her head. "You look like you know him." The words slipped under Mara's skin before she could stop them. She thought of Evan's hands on the steering wheel of their old car, the way the vinyl peeled beneath his thumb. She thought of the way he smelled like soap and metal when he came home late. She thought of how lately he didn't look at her when he said goodnight. "I don't think so," Mara said. "Oh." The woman slid her sunglasses down just enough for her eyes to show. Young eyes. Curious, not cruel. "Funny. You just have that look." "What look?" "The one wives have." It wasn't said with venom. That was the strangest part. Just observation. As if wives were a species you could spot in the wild if you knew what to look for. Mara felt heat crawl up her neck. She could deny it. She could laugh. Instead, she heard herself ask, "What's his name?" The woman hesitated, just a fraction. Long enough for the car's engine to hum into the space between them. "Evan," she said. The sound of it landed in Mara's body, not her ears. Her knees softened. For a moment the street tilted, the florist window blurring, the lilies suddenly too heavy to hold. The woman straightened, sensing something had shifted. "Wait. You." Mara smiled. It surprised them both. It was small, tired, but real. "He has a habit of giving expensive things when he's trying to say sorry," she said. "He once bought me a dishwasher after forgetting my birthday." The woman's mouth opened. Closed. Her hand tightened on the wheel. "You're joking," she said. Mara shook her head. She felt oddly calm now, like the worst had already happened somewhere else and this was just the echo. "Did he tell you he was married?" Silence. The engine. A bird somewhere. The smell of cut flowers. "He said he was separated," the woman said finally. Mara nodded. Of course he had. She looked at the car again. Black, she realized now. Evan always liked black. Said it hid dirt better. She wondered if he'd picked it himself or just signed whatever paper was put in front of him. "Well," Mara said, stepping back at last. Space opened between them, thin but enough. "Congratulations." The woman stared at her. Something in her face cracked, just slightly. You don't seem angry. Mara thought of all the years anger had kept her warm when nothing else would. How tired she was of it. I don't have the energy, she said honestly. Take care of the car. She turned then, walking toward home, lilies brushing her coat, petals falling unseen onto the pavement behind her. From the doorway of their house, Mara would later watch Evan pull into the driveway that evening, empty-handed, his face already arranging itself into explanations. She would stand very still, listening to the quiet engine of a car that was no longer there's echo in her chest, and realize for the first time that she already knew what she was going to reveal. Mara did not plan to see her again. Life rarely asks permission. 3 days later, the sky hung low and colorless, the kind that pressed on the shoulders. Mara sat in the bank's small glass office, hands folded around a cooling cup of tea, listening to a printer hum itself to sleep. Numbers lived easily here. Clean. Obedient. They stayed where you put them. She liked that. Outside, the parking lot filled slowly. Midday lull. A delivery truck coughing. Somewhere, a car door slammed too hard. Mara gathered the folders she would take home that evening, slipping them into her bag with the carefulness of habit. That was when she saw the black car. It sat crooked across 2 spaces, arrogant even in stillness. The shine had dulled a little. Dust already settling into the places sunlight could not reach. Mara felt a curious tightening, not pain exactly. Recognition. She watched as the woman stepped out, heels sinking slightly into the asphalt. The sunglasses were gone. Her eyes were bare now, uncertain, scanning. She hadn't seen Mara yet. Mara considered turning back. She could disappear into the hallway, let the moment pass. Instead, she closed the office door behind her and walked forward, footsteps measured, breath even. She had learned, over years, how to move through discomfort without flinching. The woman noticed her when they were only a few steps apart. Her face flushed, then drained. You, she said. Mara, Mara replied. Saying her own name felt grounding. Like touching a wall in the dark. The woman glanced at the building. Do you work here? Yes. Oh. Silence grew, awkward and brittle. A wind lifted grit across the lot. The woman folded her arms, then dropped them, unsure where to put herself. I didn't know, she said finally. About him. I swear. Mara nodded. She believed her. Belief came easily these days. I know. The woman's voice trembled. He won't answer my calls. He does that when he's afraid, Mara said, surprising herself with the certainty. She had lived alongside his fear long enough to recognize its shapes. The woman swallowed. I shouldn't be here. No, Mara said. You probably shouldn't. They stood facing each other, 2 versions of a life Evan had split without care. The car loomed beside them, quiet witness. The woman glanced at it, then back at Mara. Something like defiance flickered. I guess you're wondering why I came. I'm guessing groceries, Mara said, nodding toward the small bag dangling from her hand. Milk, bread, something green. The woman huffed a short, humorless laugh. I can't afford much else right now. Mara felt the words settle. She opened her bag, pulled out a thin folder she hadn't meant to bring. The edges were worn soft from handling. I wondered, Mara said slowly, if you knew whose name the car is in. The woman frowned. Evans. Mara shook her head. No. Confusion crossed her face, then irritation. He said. He says a lot of things, Mara said gently. She opened the folder, slid out a single page, held it between them. Not close enough to invade, just enough to be seen. The woman leaned forward despite herself. Her eyes moved across the page. Her mouth parted. This is a loan agreement, she said. Yes. And the borrower is Mara Collins, Mara finished. Her own name, inked and undeniable. The woman looked from the paper to Mara's face. Why? Mara folded the page again, tucked it back. Because Evan's credit collapsed 2 years ago. Because he asked me to help. Because I said yes. The woman's shoulders sagged. The fight drained out of her, leaving something smaller. So he didn't buy it for me. Mara hesitated. Truth was a delicate thing. He put a down payment on it, she said. From our joint account. The word joint landed hard. The woman laughed then, sharp and breaking. So it was your money. Our money, Mara corrected softly. Which mostly came from my job. From here. Silence again. Thicker this time. The car's glossy surface reflected them both, distorted, pressed together by curvature. I feel stupid, the woman whispered. Mara watched her carefully. There was no triumph in this. No relief. Only a widening emptiness where something had been. I felt that way for a long time, Mara said. It passes. The woman wiped at her eyes angrily. What are you going to do? Mara looked at the car. Thought of Evan's face, already forming excuses. Thought of nights alone beside him. Of the quiet resolve that had been growing without her noticing. I'm going to stop paying, she said. The woman stiffened. You can't. I can, Mara said. And I will. But the car will be taken, Mara said. Eventually. The woman's breath hitched. I need it. Mara met her gaze. I know. The wind shifted. A shopping cart rattled somewhere. The world kept going. I didn't come here to punish you, Mara said. I just thought you deserved to know the truth. All of it. The woman nodded slowly. What about you? Mara considered the question. It felt large. Endless. She thought of the lilies, now wilted on the kitchen table. Of the empty driveway. I already lost what I needed to lose, she said. They stood there a moment longer. Then the woman turned, unlocked the car, sat behind the wheel without starting it. Her head dropped forward, forehead against the steering wheel. She did not cry loudly, just breathed, unevenly. Mara watched, then turned away. Each step toward the building felt lighter and heavier at once. Inside, the printer whirred back to life. Numbers waited. Outside, the black car remained still, already beginning to belong to no one. Evan sat in the dark with the engine off, keys cooling in his palm, and listened to the house breathe. The porch light was on. That meant Mara was awake. She always left it on when she was awake, as if light could stand guard against what came next. He had practiced words on the drive home. Whole conversations, smooth and reasonable. They dissolved now, one by one, like sugar dropped into water. Inside, Mara was at the kitchen table. Not pacing. Not crying. Just sitting, hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. The lilies were gone. Their absence felt louder than their presence had been. You're late, she said, without looking up. I know, Evan replied. His voice sounded thin to his own ears. Work ran long. She nodded, the smallest movement. Acceptance, not belief. He hung his jacket on the back of the chair. The fabric slid wrong. He noticed everything now. The way the clock ticked too loudly. The way the fridge hummed off-key. The way the house felt like it had shifted its weight. I saw her, Mara said. Evan froze. His hand hovered uselessly near the counter. Who? She finally looked at him. Her eyes were steady, almost gentle. That frightened him more than anger ever had. The woman with the car. His mouth opened. Closed. The practiced words fled. She came to the bank, Mara continued. Did you know that? No, he whispered. She parked badly. A beat. Evan laughed once, sharp and wrong. It died quickly. Mara. I told her, she said. About the loan. About the account. The room felt smaller. Evan sat down heavily. He ran a hand through his hair, tugging. You shouldn't have. She already knew some things, Mara said. You left gaps. I just filled them. He leaned forward, elbows on knees. Shame moved through him like cold water. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. I know, Mara said. She took a sip of her tea at last, winced at the cold. You never do. He looked up. The words stung because they were true. He had lived his life by drift and apology, letting things become disasters he could claim surprise at. I was lonely, he said, weakly, offering it like a reason. Mara nodded again. So was I. Silence stretched. Evan felt the urge to fill it, to promise things. He swallowed them back. What are you going to do? He asked, finally. Mara set the mug down carefully. I've already done it. His chest tightened. What? I called the bank this afternoon, she said. I removed my automatic payments. I opened a separate account. Evan's heart pounded. You can't just. I can, she said softly. I did. Fear rose, sharp and panicked. The car will be repossessed, Mara said. Unless you take over the payments. I can't afford that. I know. The simplicity of it broke something in him. He pressed his fists into his eyes, hard. You're ruining her life. Mara watched him. There was sadness there, deep and old, but also a strange calm. No, she said. I'm stopping the ruin of mine. He looked at her then, really looked. The woman who had built routines around his chaos. Who had paid debts quietly. Who had held space for his moods without asking for room for her own. When did you decide this? He asked. I don't think there was a moment, Mara said. Just a series of small realizations. They added up. He nodded slowly. Are you leaving? The question felt like standing at the edge of a drop. Not tonight, Mara said. I need time. To arrange things. Hope flickered, treacherous. So there's a chance. She considered him. Not cruelly. Honestly. There's space, she said. That's all I can promise. Upstairs, the bedroom waited. The bed that had become a border. Evan stood, uncertain. I'll sleep on the couch, he offered. Do, Mara said. He moved toward the living room, then stopped. She called me, he said, because confession felt necessary now, even if it did no good. Earlier. I didn't answer. Mara's gaze softened, just a fraction. I figured. What should I do? He asked, small. Mara looked past him, toward the darkened hallway. That's up to you. He nodded, defeated. He lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, listening to Mara's footsteps upstairs. The house settled around him, unfamiliar. In the bedroom, Mara closed the door quietly. She sat on the edge of the bed and let herself feel it then. Not rage. Not victory. Just grief, heavy and clean. She opened her phone, scrolled to a message she had drafted but not sent. A lawyer's name. An appointment time. She set the phone face down. Lay back. In the dark, she breathed, slow and steady, as if teaching herself a new language. Outside, somewhere far away, a tow truck engine started. The sound traveled faintly through the night, not meant for her, and still she listened until it faded. Morning arrived without ceremony. No birdsong, no sudden light. Just a gradual thinning of dark, like a bruise fading. Mara woke before the alarm. She lay still, listening. The couch downstairs did not creak. The shower did not run. Evan was awake too, then. Or gone. Either way, the house felt altered, its silences rearranged. She dressed carefully, choosing clothes that did not belong to any memory. A soft sweater. Flat shoes. In the bathroom mirror, her face looked unfamiliar, lighter around the eyes, as if something heavy had finally been set down. She brushed her hair slowly, each stroke deliberate, grounding. Downstairs, Evan sat at the table with a mug he hadn't touched. His phone lay face up beside it. Missed calls. A single unread message. She texted, he said, without greeting. Mara poured herself coffee. The smell filled the kitchen, bitter and steady. I assumed. She wants to talk, he said. She's scared. Mara nodded. Fear had a way of making itself urgent. What are you going to tell her? Evan rubbed his hands together. The truth. Mara watched him, measuring the distance between intention and action. All of it. Yes, he said. The word wavered, then steadied. All of it. She took a sip of coffee. It was too hot. She welcomed the sting. That's something. He looked at her then, eyes red-rimmed, stripped of performance. I never meant to hurt you. I know, Mara said. She believed it. That was part of the grief. They sat in the small kitchen, surrounded by years. A magnet holding a grocery list. A chipped plate. Evidence of a shared life that had not been a lie, just incomplete. I'll be out late tonight, Mara said. I have an appointment. With who? She met his gaze. A lawyer. Evan closed his eyes. When he opened them, something had settled. Acceptance, maybe. Or exhaustion. I figured. I'm not trying to punish you, Mara said, gently. I'm trying to protect myself. I understand, he said, and this time she thought he might. Later, the street was loud with ordinary life. Buses sighing. People arguing gently into phones. Mara walked to the cafe on the corner and ordered tea she would forget to drink. She sat by the window, watching reflections pass across the glass. The door chimed. She didn't need to look up to know. The woman stood there, hair pulled back, no makeup. Smaller, somehow. She hesitated when she saw Mara, then approached, movements careful, as if the space between them might crack. Hi, she said. Hi, Mara replied. They Saturday. Silence pooled. The woman's hands trembled slightly around her cup. He told me, the woman said. Everything. Mara nodded. I didn't know, the woman said again, as if repetition might change something. About the money. About you. I know, Mara said. The woman's eyes filled. They took the car this morning. Mara felt a flicker of pain, sharp but brief. I'm sorry. I hate that I'm angry at you, the woman whispered. I know it's not fair. Mara leaned back, considering her words. You can be angry, she said. It doesn't have to land anywhere. The woman laughed weakly. I thought I was special. Mara's throat tightened. She remembered thinking the same, once. We all do, she said. They sat together, two women linked briefly by a man who had not known how to hold either of them. Outside, a child dragged a stick along a fence, the sound rhythmic, comforting. I'm leaving town, the woman said. My sister lives north. She offered a couch. That sounds wise, Mara said. I wanted to tell you, the woman continued, voice shaking, that I'm sorry. For the car. For saying what I said. I didn't know how cruel it sounded until later. Mara studied her face. The sincerity there was plain, unadorned. Thank you, she said. That matters. They stood. The woman hesitated, then reached out, not touching, just close enough to ask permission with her body. Mara nodded. They hugged briefly. Awkward. Real. When the woman left, the cafe felt emptier, but cleaner too. Mara finished her tea at last. It was cold. The lawyer's office smelled like paper and polish. The appointment was calm, methodical. Questions answered. Forms explained. Nothing dramatic. Just the careful dismantling of a shared future. In the evening, Mara returned home to a half-packed house. Evan had moved his things into boxes, neat and labeled. He stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets. I'll stay with my brother, he said. For now. Mara nodded. That's good. They did not hug. They did not apologize again. There was nothing left to say that would not bruise. After he left, Mara walked through the rooms slowly. Each held echoes. She opened windows, let air move through. She placed the house keys on the table, then picked them up again. Some habits resisted change. She sat on the couch and breathed. Outside, a car passed, engine low and unfamiliar. The sound did not tighten her chest. Later, in bed alone, Mara stared at the ceiling until the shapes dissolved. There was no triumph in this ending. No clean relief. Just a quiet, growing space where her life would stretch next. She closed her eyes. The house, finally, was still.